Hi guys, it's me again. I thought today that I'd do a Q&A collating all the questions that you guys have asked me since posting my last video and also throughout my whole experience of ulcerative colitis. That way I can answer you all in one go without having to re-answer everyone. So, question 1 is how do you get diagnosed? So as I said in my previous video, I actually struggled with my diagnosis because I had two things going on and the doctors were all very confused, but the ultimate way of finding out is by a sigmoidoscopy or a colonoscopy, which is not nice at all, but from the camera images they get, they can also take biopsies and match them with your blood test to show inflammation, and voila, that is how you get your answers. How do you get the disease? Question number 2. So I believe that no one knows the answer to this. It could be genetic, it could be stress related, anything in the outside world, if that's affecting you, could be to do with food, could be anything. Me personally, I believe is to do with stress and environmental, because that seems when I'm at my lowest, which my tummy then responds and says, I hate you, Katie, here's some payback, stop stressing me out. Sometimes I think food can be related, although I'm not 100% sure on that one. I said in my previous video about IBS not being the same but similar, and I think that some things can aggravate a flare-up. So yeah, for me it's not to do with genetics because no one in my family had it. So yeah, they're unsure and I'm unsure. I don't know how I got this. It came not even at the start of my life, so who knows? Question 3, what are the symptoms? So for me, I get the symptoms I spoke about before with the bleeding and the fatigue. Fatigue is a big thing for me. I am always tired, but then really struggle with sleeping, which is a really horrible cycle right there. I am often very bloated, and as I said before, look 6 months pregnant all the time. And yeah, those are my main issues that I have. I also struggle where I will have urgency to go to the toilet but then can't go, so that's another thing. But yeah, pretty much the usual stuff, but at the moment my flare-up isn't as dramatic as last time because I'm on top of it with some medication and especially the steroids at the moment, so fingers crossed they're working. Talking of steroids, the medication that I take for this, which is another question, I take mecaptopurine and at the moment I'm doing the rectal steroids, but I have also been known to take the oral steroids, which is where I get the weight gain and water retention, etc., which I hate, so I hate taking them. For pain I take tramadol, Oromorph. I sometimes have been prescribed codeine. I prescribe myself paracetamol all the time. As I said before, Nurofen's a big no-no for me now, even though I actually think that helps the most with the pain. But yeah, there's been several different meds that I've had to take, and through that I was spending a lot of money on prescriptions. So if you're lucky enough to be in the UK like I am, with the NHS, they do have one good thing, and that's a prepayment card which you top up each year. I think it's about £140 or something, which sounds steep in one go, but if you consider you're spending £8.40 on tablets each time, it really reduces the cost, and especially if they like to trial and error you on medication, definitely look into that. I'll post the links below for that. How is day-to-day life affected? As I said, I am always very tired, so that's quite a big factor. If you're tired, you don't want to do much, especially people say to exercise, which can help, but then I'm too tired to do that. I'm not just being lazy, as much as people may think. I also feel like I can't get involved with things as much, because then I get scared that I'm going to wear myself out and cause myself to have flare-up symptoms. A big factor has been employment for me, where I said before that employers get quite naffed off with this because they don't no one's really aware of this disease. They don't know what to do about it. They've got to run a business, but then at the same time, you've got to feel good. Your health is number one to you. But then the whole stress of it is just, it's an ongoing thing. So at the moment, I'm currently out of employment because I've just moved house. But that's one thing that's really worrying me at the moment, is going to them and again having to say, I've got this disease, this is what happens, it's out of my control, doing what I can. But yeah, so I'd say that's a big effect. And also with friendships, I think that people often think I'm being lazy or just don't want to see them, but that's not the case. Sometimes I just can't bring myself to go out, and you have some friends who are really supportive and will come to you and just chill out, which is the most ideal situation. But then obviously there's times when I want to go out and I want to do things, but it's just weighing up the risks of whether it's going to affect you on that day. Particularly if you're in a flare-up, not knowing if you're going to feel comfortable going to the toilet and things. Silly little things, but yeah, another thing that I'm struggling with at the moment is things that you don't often think of, which is things like travel insurance. I'm really struggling at the moment to find anyone who wants to insure me. So if you know of any specialist travel insurers, please let me know. But yeah, it's just like the normal things that you'd think would be affected, but shouldn't be affected. They kind of bring you down, but yeah. On the subject of friendship, that kind of ties in with relationships, and that's not just relationships with a boyfriend, girlfriend. It can also be with your parents, your family, again with friends. For me, with my family, they are very supportive, and I think that helps that you have a good network with your family, that you feel comfortable talking to them about your symptoms, and that you go to them where you can. I used to worry about stressing them out, but I think it's important to tell them now, because then you've always got someone on your side, and sometimes it's that old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you're thinking, oh my god, I'm in a flare and I don't know what to do, you talk to someone and that kind of alleviates some of the stress. So I think that's important. With friends, as I say, friends come and go. The true friends will stick by you. It's been an eye-opener, I must say, with this. Relationships with your bosses, just make sure you tell them everything you can. Always have supportive evidence, so letters from doctors, etc. I think that's been quite a big hassle for me. And to do with my boyfriend, he has been extra supportive with this. I first met him when I had just started in a flare, and it was the big flare, the one that sent me to hospital. He was the one that took me to the hospital. He was the one that sat by my side with my mum for the whole 7 days whenever they could. And yeah, we've had our struggles with it, but I think as long as you got someone by your side that's always there and supportive through even the little things, like he'll be the one that pushes you to take the medication when you need to, advise you not to eat that food because that might affect your flare up, and just kind of give you a cuddle at the end of the day and convince you that everything's going to be okay. So yeah, relationships can be affected, but as long as you find the people that are the most supportive, stick with them and it will make you feel 10 times better. How long is a flare-up? So how long is a piece of string? Who knows? A flare and remission, same sort of thing. You don't know how long you're going to be in those situations for. So my longest flare-up was before I got diagnosed, and that was 1.5 years to 2 years of not knowing what to do, so I didn't have the correct medication. Now I'm a bit more on top of it, and since I've been diagnosed, I've been in remission for 2 years. Obviously there have been problems alongside it, but 2 years of feeling as best as I could, and my current flare-up is lasting around a month. So yeah, fingers crossed, no, touch wood, fingers crossed, I won't be in this much longer because I'm on the steroids at the moment. So yeah, who knows how long any of those things are going to last for. What has been most difficult for me has been people not knowing, which is why I created my first video, not knowing what I was moaning about, not knowing what the symptoms were, not knowing quite like the extent of things. As I've mentioned so many times in this video, employees especially I struggle with, because like, as much as you want to tell them, you also don't want to tell them, and because it's quite personal, quite private, a lot of this, but then they got to be aware. So it's that kind of whole thing of, if they don't know what you're going through, they can't help you, or they can't be there for you, so you kind of have to tell them. And it's just like this whole, I don't know, it's a difficult situation. And as I said, I used to find it quite stressful to tell people what I was going through, because I didn't want to stress them out, didn't want to bring them down, and didn't want them to feel like the sympathy for me, because it is what it is and you just have to get on with that. But yeah, I think that's been really difficult, and the whole friendship thing is kind of linked with that, where you kind of feel on your own, and particularly, as I said, you find out who your friends are, and yeah, that's been a big deal for me. And finally, and I'm really sorry if you've asked me this, please don't take it personally that I'm saying this, but so many people ask, can this be cured? What's the cure for it? Can you take something that will like cure you forever? No, there's nothing, particularly in the state that I'm in, that you can take to cure this. It is for life, and you're stuck with it. And unless you're in a real like drastic situation where you have no other choice but to remove your colon, or remove part of your colon, then there's no way out of this. And even then, I don't know if it cures it. I haven't looked into that, because touch wood, I won't need to. But yeah, there's no cure for this, unfortunately. It is for life, and medication can help, and like keeping on top of all of this can help, but yeah, currently no cure. And I think it's the same with any chronic condition, or like the cancers of the world, etc. There's nothing you can do but to support people through these, because they're inevitable. And I think as long as you've got people raising awareness for these things, people raising awareness means like power means money means money to cure these things. So if we keep this going, hopefully one day, fingers crossed, something will come out of this, and someone somewhere will find the magic cure for this. But no, currently nothing you can do, unfortunately. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching my video. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment below if you've got anything that I haven't answered, but I hope what I have answered has been helpful to you. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye! Answering all the questions that you guys ask me quite frequently throughout my time with this afternoon, to discuss some of the questions. I don't know what I'm answering. I'm not very good at this. This is an annoying piece of hair.